Díomh agus fáilte ar ais. You're all very welcome to another episode of Irish in Toronto. Today I'll be speaking with Saffiya Ramhendar-Armogan, a student of mine here at the University of St Michael's College in the University of Toronto. Saffiya was raised in Dublin but chose to complete her undergraduate degree in Politics and Criminology here at the University of Toronto. She waited until her fourth year here to dip her toes into Celtic Studies and is currently taking my Irish language class. In this conversation, we discuss the challenges of moving to a new country for university, the differences between living and studying in Ireland and Canada, and what the future holds for Saffiya. I would still encourage people to download the episodes and to share them with friends and family. Downloads are the easiest indicator for me to gauge how many people I am reaching with these conversations, so I would really appreciate it. I'll begin our chat by asking Saffiya why she came to Toronto.
There's a couple of different reasons I came. I knew I wanted to leave Ireland for university, and my parents, neither of them went, they both left where they lived for university, so it was kind of a thing that wasn't abnormal. It's kind of not the norm, I think, in Ireland to leave for university. Not a lot of people in my year left, but I knew I wanted to go abroad. I applied to schools in the UK as well, so I didn't know where at all. I just knew I wanted to go abroad, but my dad is Canadian, so that made it easier for me, obviously. And then, I've always wanted to live in Toronto at some point, because I used to come here when I was little, so I knew I wanted to be here at some point. So I applied to U of T, and I was like, it'd be great if I came here. But, yeah, I really like Toronto, so it was good to come and live here, but that's kind of it.
Did you used to come as a child, on your summer holidays and things like that?
Yeah, I have, family here, so my uncles on my dad's side live here, and my aunt on my mom's side live here. So I used to come up with both my parents and come and visit. And my dad's uncle used to live by the waterfront, so he used to come and stay there. And I love the waterfront. I actually learned to ride my bike on the waterfront for the first time. So.
That's a good experience.
Yeah, it was fun.
And there was no, you were dead set on going abroad, even if it wasn't Toronto?
Yeah, I was dead set on going abroad. I definitely wanted to leave for college. I just thought it would be, a good experience and, a nice opportunity to move out and, just have a completely new experience. I wanted to start, completely new. Obviously, I love my friends, but I knew that if I went to university in Dublin, I would have just gone to Trinity or UCD, and I would have just known everybody already. It's very small, obviously. Half of my year would have been in, the course I was going to do anyway.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not half, but, a lot of, at least 5. So, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I just thought it would be nice to, push myself and, have a new experience and start from, nothing. I didn't know anyone my age when I came here. I just thought, why not?
As an 18-year-old, that's a big... I presume you were 18 or
yeah, I was.
That's a big deal because most... for example, where I'm from in Ireland, going to Dublin would seem like an absolutely huge thing to do. It would feel so big and so... Obviously, I would know less people than you, but even then it would just seem so big and hard to kind of comprehend. Even going to Limerick, being honest, for me, felt big. So I suppose maybe did growing up in Dublin give you a sense that that's your baseline?
I guess I'm quite independent. I'm an only child as well, so I feel I am quite independent, but I kind of didn't think about it. I was I'm gonna go abroad. And I was so busy with the leaving cert too. That takes over your whole life. So I didn't even really process that I was gonna leave. I only decided to come to U of T maybe in July, in the middle of the summer. So it was kind of a last minute decision. I didn't necessarily give myself a lot of time to think about it. I was I'll just do it and see how it goes. And I'm lucky because my parents are very supportive, and they're try it. Why not try it? But if it doesn't work, you can always come home. It's not a set decision. It doesn't have to be forever. So that helped me to be less scared about it.
Yeah. The leaving cert, there'll be people listening who are Canadian and maybe might know exactly what the leaving cert is, but basically you in Ireland, to get into university, you must do your leaving certificate, get a certain number of points that will allow you, based on your results, that would allow you to get into a course or a program of study in Ireland. The results of those exams don't come out until the middle of August.
Yeah, mine came out in September, actually, my year.
Okay.
September 2nd. And
why was this so late?
I was maybe the second or third COVID years, and that might be part of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so they came out the day before I left to come here, which was scary, but...
But for practical purposes, going to university, I would work with students sometimes who are prospective students, we call them, who are in high school, and I might work with them up to a year before they're even going to come to U of T or St. Michael's College where I teach. And they kind of already know, they still have to maintain results and things like that. But whereas in Ireland, it is quite different. It doesn't matter if you like UCC or not, or like UCD or not. Your results are the only thing that matter.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult in that sense, especially when you're looking to go abroad. The Irish system doesn't translate very well into going abroad, in my opinion, anyway. Because you have to wait so long for your grades. Most universities sort out like who's coming into their classes way before that. Like U of T was asking me to pay my residence deposit when I was sitting my leaving cert, and I was like, I don't want to think about this right now. Like I don't even know what my plan is. Even with like UCAS, they like take your predicted grades because they're not going to wait as long. Even though they release like their, I think it's A-level results like in the summer, it's still before the leaving cert results come out.
Does that make the leaving cert more pressurized or less pressurized from your perspective?
I think I'm someone who stresses about things, so I felt pressure about it no matter what. But especially like I didn't know what grades I would need to come here anyway. It was even like less clear. At least with the CAO, like what points you're gonna need, more or less. I know they change every year, but you have like an idea. So it was kind of confusing for me because I didn't know exactly how many points I was going to need. They told me like keep your grades relatively the same and it'll be fine, but they didn't fully accept me until I was already here. They had me on like a conditional offer and they told me like as long as you keep your grades relatively the same, it should be fine. And I was like,
what were they, sorry to interject, but what were they basing, you're saying keep your grades?
Yeah, so they saw my transcripts, which were just like my report cards from secondary school.
Christmas tests and summer tests.
Like Christmas exams. So they're not exactly the most, I don't know what the right word is. Like,
but it's interesting, and I'm not trying to interrupt, but those tests in Ireland, of course, you're doing your fourth year summer test, your fifth year, you're trying to do well, but they don't feel like a huge deal.
No, because we look at them differently. Like in Ireland, they're treated as just like a stepping stone almost, like you're learning through the test, you're learning how to take exams, like that's a huge thing, right? You learn how to take your exam so that when the leaving cert comes, like you know how to take the exam. Half of an exam is learning how to take it, and then the rest of it is testing your knowledge and like what you still need to improve on. So they're not seen as like grades that other people will necessarily see. They're kind of seen as grades that you learn from. So it doesn't translate the same as a grade point average like in high school here, in my opinion, because you know that those will be looked at, and like there are assignments as well. Like we didn't do assignments necessarily in school. Like we do homework, but it's not graded towards anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time talking to you about this that I'd kind of realised that you're doing your fourth year summer test or fifth, whatever, your fifth year summer test, but like the year before the leaving cert or your Christmas test or whatever, and you're kind of you're taking it seriously. But like, let's say you got like a cold, like a really bad, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
It doesn't really matter. Like you want to do well, but like it doesn't matter in terms of anything. Especially like the leaving cert system. The leaving cert is the center of everything. Yeah. Like nothing else is as relevant necessarily. Yeah.
But for you, those previous tests were becoming important.
Well, I didn't know that
at the time. Yeah.
Until I was in sixth year and I was applying, and I was like, oh, that's great. I wish I knew about that before.
Do you think? This is more of a philosophical question, but now looking back, having been through that, do you think maybe continuous assessment, and we do have elements of it in Ireland, it's not like the leaving cert is 100% of everything, like there are assignments you can do in the build-up that might be worth 20%, in certain subjects, like the oral exams or history as a preparatory exam, and certain subjects have, but do you like that element of continuous assessment?
I don't know, it's kind of a difficult question. I think the leaving cert prepares you, I don't know if prepare is the right word. It matures you in a way that I don't think like just continuous assessment does. I don't know if it prepares you in a good way or not, but I feel like I learned a lot from sitting the leaving cert, and I feel like it gave me an advantage coming to university. Like I don't stress I stress about things, but not as much because the leaving cert feels so like final, and you learn so much about like how to study and like how to prepare for things that like when you come to university and you sit a Christmas exam, like it doesn't feel that terrifying comparatively, right? But for a lot of students here, like, that's maybe their first time sitting an exam of that level.
In a huge room.
Yeah, in a huge room, like clear pencil case, like all those kind of things.
I thought the exact same thing.
Like, it's kind of different.
Yeah.
Coming from a background with like a final exam. I don't know if it like makes sense, but I do find there's like a difference. And like people have said to me too, like if they've gone to school in like the UK and stuff like that from here, they feel like kids who come from like systems where they do these like final exams, like they're more mature. But there's also a different like culture as well in the UK and Ireland, which I think makes that difference as well. But
elaborate on that point. So you think since you've been here 4 years now?
Yes,
3.5
this
years
is my
roughly.
4th year here.
So how do you, when you landed here at 18, obviously you've been here before, but you landed here at 18, you start going to class with other 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds in university. Did you find it, what were the differences you would have noticed between students of the same age in Ireland?
Well, okay, when I first came here, I was like, oh my god, what did I do? The first year was like hard for me because it's a big adjustment. Like, I didn't necessarily think it would be as different. It doesn't seem that different, but it is like culturally quite different to Ireland. With other students, like, I definitely felt like maturity wise, I felt like older than them in a way, even though like I'm not. But I feel like certain experiences like growing up in Ireland definitely matured me in a different way. I mean, I don't know if it's like my personal experiences as well, but I felt like a lot of students, first of all, like with like actual school stuff, they took it like a lot more seriously, or like a lot, like it was a more intense experience for them, whereas like it was definitely still an adjustment period for me, like coming from school to university, but like exams and stuff like that don't scare me. Like, I don't like them, but they don't scare me. And like a lot of stuff as well that I did in first year, I already kind of knew the basis of, which was good for me. But I feel like a lot of students, I don't know, they just felt less mature. I think part of it, I don't know if this is like a good take or not, but I think part of it is to do with like in social aspects with like drinking as well. Like, I feel like in Ireland you drink from whenever, but you don't start at 18 for most people. And like when I was going out here, like sometimes it's people's like first time drinking, they're like blacking out on like the front lawn or whatever, and it's like at the point that I came here, like I've already been drinking for like a couple of years at that point. Like, it was not my first experience, so I wasn't like afraid to like drink and not know my limits and stuff like that, you know. I think it like plays a role in it as well. I think you gain maturity from like the freedom you have as well. I think by the time you're 18 in Ireland, you're basically an adult in society's eyes. Like, you can do whatever you want. But I think a lot of people here like are still very like under the permission of their parents, which is not a bad thing at all. But it's a difference I noticed. Like,
yeah, we are obviously very social in Ireland, and I think tend to be a bit. It's a terrible phrase to use, but like a bit more street smart or something like that. I think because in comparison to Canada, these are my observations.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree, but we don't have that helicopter parenting thing as much.
Yeah, I would agree personally. I think parents, this is a generalization obviously, but parents here seem to be more hands-on, especially like first year, second year. Like, my parents aren't, like, they trust me, so they don't really worry. Like, they know what I'm doing, and I'm like 100% honest with them. So they don't like helicopter me because they know what I'm doing and they're fine with it. Like, a lot of my peers here, like, they won't tell their, well, not so much now, but in first year, like, they won't tell their parents they're like going out or whatever. It's like, my parents know where I am at all times, and they know what I'm doing, and it's like fine for them. Like, I'll text my mom and be like, just got home, and it's like 3 a.m. She's like, okay, glad you're safe, like, good night.
Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely noticed that moving to Toronto. I don't know, is it a Toronto thing? I don't know, is it a U of T thing?
I guess U of T is not reflective necessarily of the wider population.
Yeah, that's true.
In all senses, because I think U of T people can sometimes be more academically driven, which sometimes they don't prioritize like other aspects of a balanced life as well. So yeah.
How have you balanced your life since coming here? Because you're relatively academic, I think you'd admit that.
Yeah, I am, but I mean, U of T is academically difficult. Like, it definitely puts you through it sometimes. But for me, it's important that academics are not everything. I could probably have more hobbies, like, I'll admit to that. But I do, like, value, like, friend time. Or, like, if my family is here, like, that's my priority. And, like, that's what keeps me, like, sane, especially through the winter. Like, I'm not a winter person. And so I think it's, like, really important to, like, have something to look forward to every week and, like, take breaks. Like, a lot of people look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, I take at least one day off every weekend, like, completely off from school. And sometimes people are like, what do you mean? But, like, I'll go crazy without it, so it's not necessarily, like, that I just don't want to do my work, but I need, like, a rest day so I can work better the other days.
That sounds totally normal to me.
That's how I have my balance. But some people are like, oh my god, like, how do you have time? Yeah. But I make time. And honestly, like, I think sometimes there is a trade-off. Like, I'd rather be happy and, like, have, like, a 2% lower grade, personally, than, like, be miserable, be in the library, not see the sun. Like, that's just me.
Yeah. They call it the law of diminishing returns or something. And, like, I used to be kind of like you. I think I'm not as good as I used to be. I think sometimes I come in now and I might come into the office and I might have a task to do, but I give myself a set amount of time to do the task. But if you give yourself too much time, you just waste time doing the task. Then it takes longer to do it. Then it might take longer than it even should have taken. And I'm trying to find that balance. Whereas when I was in university, I think I had a similar balance to you where I wanted to do well, but I was kind of happy enough that, like, I definitely saw a massive disadvantage in mentally putting yourself through the strain of, like, okay, I can't be idle. If I have free time, in inverted commas, well, that should be study time. There's no such thing as free time. And a lot of students here are definitely like that.
Yeah, a lot of students here are very academically driven, which is not a bad thing at all, but I think there is a huge benefit to balance in your life. Yeah.
What kind of things have you found since moving here that, you know, are different from the life you had growing up back home?
Well, Toronto is huge compared to Dublin even.
What part of Dublin are you from?
I'm from, like, Grand Canal Dock is where I live, so kind of close to town. Kind of in the centre of things. Yeah. But, yeah, Toronto is so huge compared to Dublin. Like, I know people think Toronto is even, like, small for a city, which it is obviously smaller than some other cities, but for me, it's still, like, a big difference. And, like, I know a lot of people, they don't like Toronto, who live here. I guess it's one of those things, if you don't live, like, you're not from here, it's different, but I love Toronto. I think it's great. There's a lot of stuff to do all the time. Like, there's always something on here, which is nice. Like, I live near King Street, and, like, in the summer, there's TIFF on, like, in September, which is just, like, so cool. Like, what do you mean there's a film festival on my street? Like, it's amazing. But there's always, like, a market to go to. There's always, like, something to do. Also, I love shopping, so the mall is, like, the best thing ever. But other than that, like, I just spend time with my friends. Like, I'm always trying, like, new places to, like, try a coffee, or, like, there's so many different types of food here, too, which is, like, insane. It's so cool to, like, try everything. I feel, like, uncultured sometimes because I'm, like, I have no idea what we're talking about. I feel like I should know, but I'm, like, I don't know what kind of food that is. I don't know what it means.
That's the type of maturity the Canadians might have ahead of us in that regard.
Oh, definitely, yeah. My roommate is always, like, introducing me to, like, new things, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
That you wouldn't have tried back home, possibly.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, things are changing, definitely, in Ireland, and, like, it's definitely way more diverse now than it used to be, but, like, when I was growing up, there wasn't necessarily the same diversity that there is now.
Do you... Like, I've interviewed a lot of people from rural Ireland, I've interviewed a lot of people from Dublin. I do slightly find a difference with the Dubs, more so than us country folk, I suppose. Just in the nature of going from rural Ireland to urban Toronto.
Yeah, I can't, that's a huge difference. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it can be, but it seems to be people kind of seem to adapt quite quickly to it and they embrace it. But I do find with the people coming from Dublin, generally, it's all relative. So you'll still, even though it would seem more like for like, you still say, well, no, there is a difference. Like there.
Yeah, it's still a huge difference.
Yeah.
I think, but it probably is a smaller difference between.
Possibly, but they are different cities. What do you like? You're at an age, and I said this to you before off air, that you're at an age where it would have been impossible for me to spend this length of time abroad. I was very much a home bird at your age, and obviously you being maybe an only child and this type of thing has contributed to that. I'm not sure, you're quite independent, but are there things that you do pine for about home and miss home?
Oh, definitely. I miss my family a lot. Like, I'm a huge family person. Coming to Toronto has had family benefits for me, though, because my dad and my stepmom, they live in Barbados. My grandparents live in Barbados, which is so much closer to Toronto than it is from Dublin. Like, from Dublin, I would fly to London and then 8 hours from London to Barbados to visit them. Whereas, like, from Toronto, first of all, Toronto's on the same time zone, which is great. It's much easier for me to call my grandparents at all times of the day. But also it's a 5-hour flight, and it's significantly cheaper.
Still a 5-hour flight.
It is, but it's significantly cheaper, which makes it a lot more accessible. And also, like, my dad and my stepmom, they come up here, like, just by themselves without the factor of me being here. Obviously, I influence them, but so it's nice for me because I get to see them more, and, like, on my reading weeks, I'll go down and see them if I can. So that's nice for me. My grandparents come up here a lot, which is great because, like, Dublin's very out of the way for them. Like, they would still come and visit, but I see them a lot more, which I really enjoy. But it is hard to, like, be away from home. Sometimes I look at my friends who commute and I'm like, oh my god, your mom's making you dinner. Like, you're gonna go home to eat a home-cooked meal. I'm so jealous. But I like living by myself. I think it's a really great experience that not a lot of people my age at home get to have, because obviously it's really expensive to move out.
I was going to ask where you're from. Do a lot of your friends who are in university, are they living at home?
Yeah, and I would have lived at home if I went to university at home too. Like, it doesn't really make sense to move out unless you kind of have to, I feel like.
There was a time when it did make sense, though, just because it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's just so expensive now. Like, it's, if you live within, like, an hour away from school, why would you want to move out, you know?
The crack is too good, but it's too expensive. But no, you're right.
It would be great to move out,
yeah,
for sure, but it's definitely not realistic for a lot of people.
Like, it's crazy to think that it's cheaper to live in Toronto as a student than it is to live in Dublin for rent and things like that.
Yeah, it is crazy because you'd think, like, a bigger city would be more expensive. I mean, Toronto's not cheap by any means.
No, but it is cheaper.
Yeah.
Than Dublin anyway. Yeah, anyway, don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but no, it's just something I feel sorry for. I'm not that much older than you, but I'm old enough that I went to college at a time when even if you lived like a half an hour to an hour from, you still kind of could live on campus. You'd probably get a job that wasn't even that well paying and still kind of make your rent, or, like, you know, your parents could you know help you out, and it wasn't a huge, depending, obviously everyone has different financial issues, but it wasn't eating them alive. Whereas now, if a student had to live on campus, which oftentimes they do, you know, if someone come from County Clare to Dublin, they'll have to live in the city somewhere. They basically need to have really wealthy parents, live in debt, or both,
or like save up, like,
or have or be working more than 20 hours a week possibly.
Yeah.
While they're studying, which takes away from the fun as well. So yeah.
And it's so hard to find somewhere to live too. Like, I have a friend who was trying to find somewhere to live throughout the whole summer. Like, she didn't even find somewhere until like October or something, which obviously school
in Dublin
started. Yeah, she's from Drogheda.
Yeah.
So it's not that far, but, like, obviously you don't want to be making that commute.
Commuting's not fun.
No.
Yeah. I know some people have to do it. Yeah, I feel bad about that. Did that contribute to your decision to go to Toronto at all?
No, I live, like, close to wherever I would have gone for university. But I knew I wanted to move out if I could. Like, I thought it would be fun, I guess. So that was part of it, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't have minded living at home. Like, I love my mom, and my parents are not strict. Like, my mom is not strict, so it wouldn't have been an issue for me to, like, still have fun. Like, she wouldn't have policed me, so it's fine. But I just wanted to have a completely new experience.
I know.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with Ireland as it's changed the last couple of years? You still go home?
Yeah, I go home
regularly?
a lot. Yeah. I go home like Christmas, summer. Like I spend pretty much the whole summer in Ireland every year. So like last summer I spent like 2 months. Summer before I was there like the whole time I was off. But I have a good relationship with Ireland. Like I love Ireland and I love going home. Like I'm going home next week. I'm very excited about it.
For Christmas?
Yeah.
Lovely.
It's nice to get that break. I would say, I don't know, my relationship with Ireland is kind of complicated, but I definitely love Ireland. I love Dublin. I would say sometimes I have like a complicated relationship in terms of like, before I moved, I didn't necessarily feel Irish, if that makes sense, because everyone else felt more Irish than me. I wasn't born in Ireland as well, and then like I don't look Irish, which is...
What does an Irish person look like?
Well, I don't... yeah. I don't look Irish by other people's standards of Irish in a lot of cases.
What's that, like, you can cut me off if I'm being insensitive as well, like, but what's that... So I'll give you an example from my perspective. You know, I'll talk to someone here, you know, someone I've just met, and obviously they can tell from the accent straight away, oh, you're Irish. But they also put two and two together. They put the accent together. There's no hesitance at all. Whereas if I looked like you or if I had a different skin colour, they might register a second with the accent. Not everyone does that, but some people would. I suppose, have you had elements or experiences where in Ireland or in Canada or anywhere in the world where people don't put two and two together or are a bit confused by that?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes, like, I'll tell people I'm Irish and they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, I think I am. I'm like, I don't know. But I guess I don't register as Irish. I don't have an Irish accent as well.
Sometimes you do.
Necessarily. People say that it comes out on some things, some words. When I say the word Ireland, they're like, now I hear it.
Yeah.
Because I don't pronounce the American way. People at home tell me that now they tell me I have a Canadian accent. They used to tell me I had an American accent. But it's because my parents are not from Ireland, so obviously I'm not, like, speaking to someone with an Irish accent all the time. That being said, when I came here, everyone was like, talk slower, like, say that again. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, I don't even think I have a strong accent. And they would mimic my accent back to me as, like, a really bad British accent. I don't think you're getting it.
But so you spent years in Ireland being told you don't really have an Irish accent, to move here to be told your accent is too strong.
Yeah, so it's kind of confusing. That's one of the things, like I say, like, I didn't necessarily feel Irish when I was living in Ireland because I didn't feel as Irish as the people around me. So I didn't know if, like, I could necessarily, like, say that about myself. But then I came here and I was like, I'm definitely Irish. Like, culturally, I feel Irish because I don't feel like I resonate with anything else. And I definitely feel like I've grown up Irish, right? Like, even though my family are not Irish, which is part of it, but, like, that's how I've grown up. Or, like, I've gone to school in Ireland my whole life. Like, I wasn't born in Ireland, but I moved to Ireland when I was 3, so I've grown up there completely. So I consider myself Irish. And I think when you move away from home, everyone says this, when you move away, you feel like a stronger connection to Ireland as well. I don't know.
No, I would agree with that sentiment. Definitely, it's a stronger affiliation when you move abroad for some reason. I'm not sure if that happens for other nationalities. It probably does. But do your parents consider themselves? Do your family that lives in Ireland, do they consider themselves Irish?
My mom would consider herself Irish. Like, we've been there for, like, a long time now, so...
Yeah. Nearly 20 years.
Yeah. I guess she would consider herself maybe partly also from Barbados, but she would definitely consider herself at least partially Irish.
It's just interesting. Because I've never had to deal with that. I've never had to defend my nationality or ethnicity or whatever it might be. Whereas, it doesn't seem like it bothers you too much. But then you did say it's a complicated relationship.
Yeah, it bothers me sometimes. Like, it bothers me, especially, like, right now with, like, the rise of people having, like, anti-immigrant sentiments, right? Like, I have immigrated to Ireland, but I'm not necessarily an immigrant. Like, I've been there pretty much my whole life. But you won't know that from looking at me, so it bothers me in that sense because, like, it worries me, I guess, because people can be like, oh, but you don't look Irish, you're not Irish, but it's not really, like, my problem to, like, prove that to you, right?
No, certainly not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I think people create these arbitrary criteria for what it means to be Irish. So for one person, it might be that you have to, quote unquote, look Irish.
Yeah.
Whatever that is to them. And then for another person, well, okay, it doesn't really matter what you look like, but you have to have an Irish accent. You know, you have to, like, have been here long enough that your accent is, like, thick, and, you know, that's fine. And then for someone else, it has to be, like, something like, you know, paperwork. It has to be citizenship. Or if you citizenship, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, like, there's all these arbitrary kind of things that people decide upon, and, like, there's no set. At the end of the day, we're all, I don't know, we're humans, so the idea of treating each other with sympathy and empathy kind of should be number one above all.
It should be, but I think people's identity as well, like, it's not really our business to, like, dictate anybody else's identity, honestly.
I know. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I know. It sounds obvious when you say it out loud. It's hard to have these conversations when there's kind of frustration and biases and anger with people on one side or on both sides, and it's stuff. I brought students back to Ireland a couple of weeks ago, and we went to Croke Park. Did a nice tour of Croke Park. It was really nice, and the plan that evening was to go to a play in the Abbey Theatre, and the weather was nice. And I said, you know, instead of getting the bus, we had a bus that was bringing us around the country for the week. I said, let's just walk back into town. You know, like, weather's nice, and they were all up for it. So we're walking from Drumcondra back into town, and there was a lot of Irish flags, you know, hanging up, and a lot of you know, around the kind of the housing estates around that area. And one of the students asked me, you know, is this because of the rugby games or the soccer games, or is there something coming up? And I said, no, this is a very new phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain, but this is unusual to have this much patriotic, you know, fervour on display. And you're seeing it outside of Dublin, but it's mainly in a very concentrated area in the inner city, I would say, probably. But it's something that we're not really talking about academically yet, but it's something I'd love to have included in the course that I was teaching on contemporary Ireland, but I didn't get a chance to, because I'm not really up to date on it yet, because I've been living over here.
Yeah.
So do you think, how much attention do you pay, I suppose, to things back home that have taken place? Since you've been living here, for example, there have been riots in Dublin on a number of occasions.
I do pay pretty close attention to them. I guess it's something that, like, is important to me, so, like, I do pay attention because I'm like, okay, this is something that involves me. Like, someone who's very passionate about something like that might think that, like, you know, I'm not Irish, and they might think that, like, they are within their right to, like, say something unkind to me about it, but, like, I think I'm in a lot of ways just as Irish as someone like that. I mean, as well, like, I think if you've gone through, like, school and, like, all those kind of things in Ireland, like, that's where you form a lot of your, like, I don't know what the right word is, like...
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's the first time, not the first time, but, you know, like...
Yeah, it's something that's, like, not happened before. I guess there hasn't been a lot of diversity in Ireland before. Like, growing up in Ireland, I was like, oh... Well, I didn't even know that it was, like, not... Oh, well, that's not the right way to say it. Growing up in Ireland, I wasn't like, oh my god, like, this is not diverse, because I never lived, like, here or anything like that. So when I came here, I was like, oh my god, like, this is such a diverse society, and, like, people don't even realize, like, how insane that is. Coming from somewhere like Ireland, like, I was, like, one of, like, maybe 5 people of color in my school, which was, like, a high number, too. Like, I remember I saw another school with my mom when I was, like, picking secondary schools, and they were like, she asked them, like, do you have, like, a diverse student body? And they were like, oh, we have a Spanish student. And she was like, okay.
One.
Yeah. Like, don't know about that. It's not their fault, obviously, right? But
oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I presume they weren't intentionally.
Yeah.
It just happened to be the population.
It's just, that's how it is. So it's interesting now going home, because it is, like, noticeably different.
Yeah.
And to me, it's only been in the last couple of years that that's, like, happening But some of my friends here, like, they don't quite understand what I mean when I'm like, Ireland is not diverse, or it wasn't diverse when I was growing up. Especially nothing compared to here. Like,
No, it's hard to compare to here.
yeah, I think if you've grown up here, like, it's hard to understand the difference. Yeah.
Even like, what an Irish person looks like, what a Canadian looks like. There's no real set. We don't have a.
Yeah, it's very hard to define that.
Yeah. What is a Canadian? Or what a Canadian looks like. You'll be graduating this summer, hopefully. What's the plan?
Ugh, the big question. I don't know. I'm applying to grad school, so if I get in.
Grad school for Irish people listening, is basically
Yeah.
postgraduate studies.
Yeah. So I'm applying to my master's. I'm not applying to anything like specific, like law school or anything like that. But I'm applying to my master's. I'm applying here at U of T, and then I'm applying in the UK as well. My plan is that if I get in, I'm only applying to like a couple. If I get into one of those, then I will go. But if not, I'm just going to look for a job, hopefully.
Here,
I mean, I would work at home. Like, I'm not picky about it. I would like to live here for the foreseeable future anyway. I really like it here, so it'd be nice. And I don't want to have to move. Oh my god. The idea of moving out of my apartment stresses me out greatly.
That would be frustrating, yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. You're not in a big rush to get home. You're not in a big rush to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I would prefer to stay here, but there's nothing wrong with going home either.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, you've a very balanced approach to it. You're not tied to one place or to the other.
Yeah, I think sometimes like that freaks people out about me, but
no, it's nice. It's nice to see. It's refreshing, especially at again, I say at your age, but like, a lot of people can get very worked up about these types of decisions, I suppose, and they're whereas it seems to me you look at it as a win-win situation. Both are fine. Both are good decisions.
Yeah, I would rather live here for now, just because I really like it here. I don't know if I'm ready to leave yet, but like, I don't mind going home either.
Yeah.
It's not really like a bad thing, so
fair enough.
It's fine.
Is there an Irish community aspect here that you spoke about moving here, and kind of maybe your kind of Irishness maybe being solidified a little bit more since moving here? Why did it take you 4 years to take an Irish language class? Did you know they existed?
I did know they existed maybe after my first year. I didn't know they existed when I was picking my classes. But it's a year-long course, and I never had space on my schedule for it based on other things I was taking. So this year I was like, okay, I'll just take it.
Good.
Yeah.
And then with that, what about the rest of your... The reason I'm asking this, the only people I know who went to university outside of Ireland when I was in university were friends of mine who maybe might have got like an athletic scholarship to the States. And they tended to go to small, big universities, but the universities in the States tend to be in kind of smaller college towns. And they kind of would come back in the summer and they'd almost be American. We would look at them as being, wow, like kids, because it's a very prime time for your accent to change, particularly if every one of your friends is not Irish, is Canadian or American or whatever it might be. It's not like going on a J1 where you're hanging around with 20 Irish people. It's very much, you're in university there and your accent will start changing without you realising it. This happens all the time. It's, and probably has happened to you to a certain degree without knowing it.
Yeah.
So my question, I suppose I'm asking a long way around to saying it is, you said it's been solidified. Is that just through conversations with people at house parties and things like this, or?
Yeah, it's just through like me realising that Ireland is the place that I identify with most, I guess. I don't know if that's the right phrasing for it, but that's where I feel the most like connected to. Like, that's where I feel like culturally like I fit in, if that makes sense. Yeah.
You're a citizen of the world as well, I'd say, to a certain degree.
Yeah, I would say so, because I guess having parents from different places, and like I spend a lot of time in Barbados as well. Not as much as I'd like. I want to be in the sun, but I do have like a lot of cultural influences from different places, and like my parents influence me. It's like with the accent thing. Like, I don't have a strong Irish accent or any Irish accent maybe, but it's influenced by that as well. Even like the way that I speak, like, I get flack for it sometimes because when I came to Ireland, like, some of the words I use are the American versions of them. So, like, sidewalk versus footpath, like, that's a difference. But then here, like, I'll say chips every time, and everyone's like, are you talking about fries? And I'm like, well, yeah, but it doesn't feel right. So I definitely have, like, a very mixed background, I guess. Like, I come from a lot of different things, so it all, like, mixes up.
But does it make you feel like an outsider everywhere, or how does it make you feel?
Sometimes a little bit. I think Ireland is the culture I identify with most, but I do feel sometimes like, okay, I don't necessarily fit in anywhere, but I think, like, I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter. Like, it's cool to be from a bunch of different things. Like, it makes me more interesting. It doesn't make me, like, weird.
Really hope you enjoyed that chat with Saffiya. I appreciate her honestly discussing some sensitive issues, and I wish her all the best for the future, whether that be in Toronto, Dublin, or elsewhere. Once again, all feedback is welcome. You can email me. My email address is in the description of the podcast, or you can find me on social media. It's always lovely getting messages from strangers and talking about the podcast and their stories of what brought them to Toronto. I would still encourage people to download the episodes and to share them with friends and family. Downloads are the easiest indicator for me to gauge how many people I'm reaching with these conversations, so I would really appreciate it. Thanks to Natalie Barbuzzi, who provided the logo for the podcast, and thanks to Shannon Heaton, who provided the music you are now listening to. You'll find all of her music on Spotify. There'll be another episode of Irish in Toronto in 2 weeks, and until then, slán go fóill.